Welcome to the Nest Podcast, your home for nerd entertainment and sports talk, where your hosts, Brandon and Zach, hash out what's happening in video games and sports every week. Enjoy the show!
What's up, and welcome back to another episode of the Nest Podcast. This is a special edition podcast where we're going to be talking about video games and all kinds of other nerd-centric things. I'm your host, Brandon. Joining me, as always, is my co-host, Zach. And this week, we have a very special guest from Growing Up 8-Bit, Ian Buchanan. Welcome, Ian. How you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. We're super excited. You know, Ian has been streaming now on at least Facebook Live and several other platforms now for a little over a year?
Almost, not quite a year. It'll be a year.
Not quite.
February 3rd. February 3rd will be a year. So we still got like 4 months.
4 months. And in that time, in that 8-month period, you've amassed a following of almost 5,000 followers. You've streamed 5 nights a week, every week since, and you're just playing video games, right?
Yeah, it's crazy to look back 8 months ago where I was and where I am now. I think right now we're like about 50 away from 5,000, and we're doing it 5 nights a week, every week, and it's almost like a full-time job doing it 2 hours a night.
Yeah, it's funny. You say that it's kind of like a full-time job. I have a 3-year-old, and every time I go upstairs to podcast, he's like, "Where are you going?" It's like, "Daddy's got to go to work right now," and he's like, "Oh, okay, gotcha."
Yeah, my little girl, I've got a 2-year-old, and she likes anytime I come up here at night and she hears that door lock, she's like, "Ooh, I want to come up," and she starts beating on the door. And she'll. Last night she jumped in, and sometimes it works. She can get me a little extra money. People donate a little extra money when they see her, so it sometimes works in my favor. Sometimes it's she'll unplug something, but we just go with it.
Yeah, kids. You know.
Yeah.
Everybody loves to see the cute little kids, and I noticed you also have whenever people donate or whatever, it plays Baby Shark, and she gets really excited for that. So it started out when Baby Shark first came out. She loved the song. We started calling it Bailey Shark after her name, and so it just kind of stuck. And then when she would come up on stream and stuff, she'd go crazy when it plays. So I just kept it, and it kind of works. So I'll have people that are like, "Oh man, I hate that," and then it'll lead to more donations because people just want to aggravate somebody because they hate it so bad, so they'll keep donating just to play it again. That's a really good idea. And the donations, is that just a Facebook Live thing? Because I've never even seen that until I started watching your streams.
Yeah, that's a Facebook Live thing. It's actually really neat. You can get monetized through Facebook, and what they do is people buy what they call stars. Every 100 stars is $1. And so Facebook takes a cut out for like 100 stars. It costs you $1.40. So, and then you donate the 100 stars. And so I get 100% of, they don't take any more out of it from me, from what they charge.
Okay. So once it's donated to you, it's kind of like the church. No extra taxes are coming out of it or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's fun. I mean, it's crazy. I never really thought that it would be something I could make money at. And here I am now 8 months, almost 9 months in, and I'm making money. And I mean, it's not a whole lot of money, but I mean, I'm making anywhere between $300 to $800.
Well, and that's just extra money playing video games, something that we all do anyway.
Yeah.
And you've made it into a little side hustle. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And starting out, I'm guessing you didn't go into it thinking, "I'm going to be rich playing video games. I'm going to show everybody how to do this." You just wanted to play video games.
Yeah, I was sitting on the couch with my wife, and I love watching streamers on YouTube and stuff like that. And I was like, "I want to do this too." And she's like, "Nobody's going to watch you." And I was like, "Well, I'm trying."
Accepted.
Yeah, it's like, I'll try it. And she used to stream way back like 4 or 5 years ago before I met her. And she's like, "No, like nobody's going to watch. Like, it's a lot harder than you think." And I was like, "Okay, let's try it." And the first night I was streaming Zelda for Nintendo.
And, the original?
Yeah, the original. And I had I had the cat house in the living room, and then I had a diaper box, and then I had another box on top of it, and then I had my phone sitting on top of it, and I had a candle
holding my phone up so the phone would not flop forward, just recording my TV. And it was complete awkward, dead silence because nobody was watching me and me just sitting there, just being like, trying to do commentary, me playing this game with nobody there.
That has to be the hardest thing, is providing the commentary and the entertainment while you're playing a game. Because for me, when I play a video game, I lean forward and I pretty much shut the fuck up and just play the game.
Oh yeah, I've had times where like I'll be like, oh man, I didn't blink that whole time. I bet I look like an idiot. And it's hard because I've had streams where I've had 50 people watching me at one time, and I can't keep up with the chat because it's going by so quick, which is a good night. And I've had streams where even with me now, I've had 1 or 2 people and nobody saying a word. And it is hard to stay motivated to keep doing it and just try to make it that 2 hours, because you never know. You can have one person share your stream and all of a sudden you jump up 10, 15 viewers. So it's I'm really, when it's all, in reality, I'm a guy sitting in my bedroom in this room right here talking to myself for 2 hours. And that's what I do.
Well, and you say you sitting in that room, our YouTube viewers will see that behind you, you have an epic collection of video games just staring at us. And those look like all original Nintendo cartridges back there.
Yeah, so the top part's all Nintendo, 3 shelves down on all 3 bookcases. I just crossed the 200 game mark with them, and then I've got Super Nintendo under, 64 under them, and Sega down at the bottom on the floor. And that's how everything first started. It was just collecting games. I just wanted to collect games and just remember being a kid again. And that's how everything started. It was never about streaming. So I was going to yard sales. I was going to game stores. I was going to thrift stores. I was going to all these places just picking up games. And that's what kind of ended up snowballing into what's now the stream. And the collecting, man, that's my big passion. I love collecting games. So that's it's fun. It just kind of takes over. It's hard to tell on the camera, but I mean, I've got a line of Game Boys sitting right here, just all different ones. Game Boy Colors, original Game Boys. I've got, action figures and stuff from the 80s and early 90s sitting up there. I've got stuff over here that you can't even see that's just piled up. I mean, it's overwhelming.
The actual game cartridges brings up a question that I had, and I wondered whether or not you played the physical copy of a game or if you use like some sort of emulator for your stream.
So I'm a diehard cartridge guy. So I always say in my stream, I'm like, if I have it, I'll play it. If I don't have it, I'm going to try to find it for you if you have it. Only time I use ROMs, and there's nothing wrong with it, a lot of guys that you see streaming use ROMs, is if something happens and like my capture card crashes out, or something happens and one of my cables just is not connecting or something like that, and I'm pushed for time, like it's, I stream at 9 o'clock and it is 8:45 and I can't get the video brought up, then I'll go to a ROM and play it. Otherwise, I'm using the cartridge. And I try to use original hardware, but you can cheat in a way. I have a Retron 5. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
No, what is that?
I have it right here. Basically what this is, this thing, if you like old games, this right here is what you need. It's about $80. It plays Genesis games, Super Nintendo, Nintendo. You put Game Boy games in the front. It plays Japanese. I've got some Japanese games that I play.
It's like a Swiss Army console.
Yeah, and it outputs through HDMI, so I'll use it a lot of times instead of, even though I have all the original consoles hooked up to the TV over here to my left, I'll use it when I play the cartridges, just because it's a lot easier to hook up, to switch out and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's got to be a lot easier just because it has HDMI output instead of the old style output.
Yeah, and that's where I'll run into a lot of problems, is if I'm using the original systems like PlayStation or Sega Saturn or some of the, like I said, I'll get into all kinds of systems. You've got to put it through a video converter, an AV to HDMI, and then run that HDMI to the
capture card and the capture card to the TV, and it's just there's a lot more that can go wrong, and that's where I'll end up with a lot of the problems. It'll be 15 minutes and I don't have any audio or any video or something.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's why I kind of thought you used emulators, because then that would even be a lot easier. You basically just screen record or whatever, screen capture, and then just do it that way. But I think it's a lot more genuine that you use old cartridges, and that kind of has a better feel to it for some reason.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it's a lot cooler that you use the same stuff that we would have used when we were kids. When you were growing up, you use those 8-bit, cartridges and the old NES systems and stuff like that. So why not use it now to really drive the point home that this is what it is?
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of guys. I mean, there's different streamers, and I'm not trying to dog any of them, but you'll see them. They'll play a game, and it may be a super hard game, and they'll use save states on the emulator, and they'll die, and then they'll just reload 10 seconds prior, and then they'll beat the game, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I beat this game." Well, yeah,
no, you didn't.
Yeah. So
You kind of
you'll see. I mean, you watch me, like you'll see me rage quit and get. I did last night. I played Ghosts and Goblins for Nintendo, like one of the hardest games, and somebody wanted me to play it. And I played it for about 15 minutes. I was like, no. I was like, I'm done. I cannot do this.
I noticed last night when you were playing your Super Mario that you kept talking about the controller was throwing you off.
Yeah. So on it, I was using. Sometimes I'll use like the Switch. Switch Online now has original Nintendo games. So I was playing them because Fridays is Flashback Friday. I'll use something like the Switch where I can just go between a bunch of games.
Sure. And we all know how long it takes to change a cartridge out whenever you have to blow in it 52 times to get it to work.
Yeah, and so I like the feel of the D-pad, the old D-pad. And if I'm playing an old game like Mario, using a joystick just to me feels really slick. Like I don't have control over Mario, and it seems like something that shouldn't be a big deal, but I couldn't do it, and that's where you'll see me get frustrated and rage a little bit, but it's all fun.
Now, my daughter is a big Switch fan. She loves playing the Switch with Zelda and Mario games and all that stuff. I've found that they have a Switch compatible old school Nintendo controller.
Yeah, I've got to get one. I've seen them. I've got a couple, and I think I've probably put everything up, but I've got some of the wired controllers. I like the wired controllers better than the wireless just because, again, if I forget to charge it or something, I'll be in the middle of a stream and all of a sudden it cuts off and I'm trying to find a cord. So I've got some of them, but I have seen the Nintendo controllers they've come out with.
Yeah, not a bad thing, especially if it can replicate the feel of the old controller.
Yeah,
it would just make your gaming experience a lot better when you were forced to use the Switch.
Yeah.
Now you said Friday nights are for flashbacks. I know my personal favorite night of the week for you is Monday night, and that's because you're doing Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah,
that's the game that I grew up playing. Dropped hundreds and hundreds of hours into that game, so I enjoy watching you. You were just started it this past Monday, and you were running around through Midgar, and I was like, "Oh God, I remember all of this."
Yeah, it's again, that was one thing when I started the stream. I wanted to make it as much like a TV show as I could. So if you liked a certain game, Mondays might be for you. If you like something else, maybe Thursdays is for you. And when I first started, I was doing 6 nights a week, and it just got overwhelming. I got burnt out in August. I hit like just a burned out period. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. I went to a Southeast Game Exchange, a game convention. I got invited to go down there, and I met some guys, and it kind of rejuvenated me. And I was like, yes, I'm ready to go. And then I quit my job and started a new job, and I had to go back to school for a month. And so I stopped streaming, and I got out of it, and it was really hard to come back. And I was like, okay, I can't do this 6 nights a week. It is too hard. I'm coming home at 6 o'clock. At that point I was streaming at 8 o'clock. So I was coming home at 6 o'clock. I was coming upstairs, getting ready to stream at 7:30. I was only spending time, like an hour and a half at the house, like relaxing. I was just burnt out. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna cut it back to 5 days a week, and then I completely redone my episodes. I've done episodes in the past, and this time I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask everybody what they want to see, and I did get Final Fantasy from you. I got tonight's stream, which is Stardew Valley, from somebody else. So I listened to people, and it's interesting to see what works and what doesn't work, because I can do this stream tonight. This is the first time I've done this game. This is not a game, just to be honest, I would probably pick for a stream. And just because personally, I'm nervous that it's going to bomb, because it's just a slow game. And but you never know. And I try to listen to people and see what people want to see. And that's why I've done the episodes, because I can't expect somebody to watch me 5 nights a week every week. So I mix it up.
Yeah, and that's cool. It gives you an opportunity to have different audiences. It's kind of what we do with this podcast. It's called the Nest Podcast, Nerd Entertainment and Sports Talk. The majority of the time we're talking sports, but we also like video games. We like some nerd-centric movies and things like that. So we want to talk about that in our podcast too. So we didn't want to just limit ourselves to just the jock crowd.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. And it seems like you're perfect demographic, because I see the video games and all that stuff, but then I happen to notice you've got the flag that says Canes.
Yeah, so
I got to assume that's the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, a big Hurricanes fan. I got the jerseys over here. I got most time on game days we're playing the Carolina intro video. We're wearing a jersey until I start burning up, because it's still really hot, in the evenings. And huge hockey fan. I mean, during the winter last year when we were going through playoffs, I had the scores down the bottom of the screen on the stream, keeping up with games. And it was neat because I got people engaged with it, and I had people that never liked hockey before, but I shoved it down their throat. They were like, man, this is exciting. And I was like, yes, you see what I like. And we went to several games last year, and I streamed from the games just to show people like, hey, like, this is pretty cool. Like, you need to check it out. So I definitely like the Hurricanes. Maybe one day they'll be like, hey, we want to have him sound the siren, the hurricane warning.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That would be awesome. We got to do the fan tunnel last year, so we got to be in the tunnel when they came out from the locker room. That was pretty sweet. But we went to 4 games last year. Went to the last home game of the season when they clinched the playoffs. So that was really exciting, and I definitely am a huge hockey fan.
Have you played any of the old hockey games, like for the old systems?
Oh, man. NHL 94 on Sega, hands down, is the best one ever.
NHL 96 on Super Nintendo was the one that captivated me.
Then we're good. And I've got some that I want to do on like Sega Saturn, some of the little bit more ones that have the videos and like the old terrible videos on. I want to do some of them, but sports is a hard game to play on stream because again, it's a hit or miss, and I've struck out big time sometimes with some sports games.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can see that, especially if it's not a sport that people are really into. We live in the United States. Let's face it, hockey's not the most popular. Baseball's not the most popular. So if you're not playing Madden or 2K, people probably aren't giving a fuck.
Yeah, and most of them games, you're going to have the person you're going to watch on Twitch, or you're going, YouTube, or you're going to have that one person that has a monopoly. That's why I don't stream Fortnite at all. Will not stream Fortnite because there's so many people that stream it, and there's so many people that have 100,000 followers because that's all they stream is Fortnite. I'm not even going to attempt it. Like, I'm just going to stay away from it.
Well, and it doesn't really fit the motif of your show anyway, because that is obviously a new game, and you seem to be on the old school kick. But that does raise the question: do you ever stream any of the newer games that are the new releases, especially some of the ones that do really well, like Red Dead Redemption 2 or Call of Duties or any of those?
Yeah, I have. We done. Not too long ago, we were doing Telltale Thursdays when I was doing 6 nights a week. I was playing some of the Telltale the story games. I was doing the Kingdom Hearts. I was playing some, leading up to the new one. So I've done some of the newer stuff. Mario Maker 2, I've played it. the new Zelda that came out on the Switch. Even though it's a kind of a throwback to the old one, it's still a new one. So I will, and mostly when I do that, it's just because, to be honest, I want to play it, so I can just throw it up on stream because I don't have time to. If it's not the weekend, I don't have time to play during the week. Just for me, and play something that I want to play. So it's I mean, tonight's game, that's an Xbox One game, but it's made in the 16-bit style. So I do the newer ones some. I'll probably do more if there's one big one that comes out that everybody's watching. I'll probably try it and see. Halloween's coming up. We're doing Resident Evil 2, the remake on it that they just came out with a couple months ago. So I'll be doing that one, Getting Scared. I'm trying to think what other new ones we've done. We've done some, though.
That's awesome, yeah. Zach and I, we usually get the same game whenever we discuss it and figure out what game we want to talk about on the podcast. We'll both go out and buy that game. And we both went hardcore into Red Dead 2. We had probably, about 10 weeks of episodes dedicated to, in part, to Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, they got pretty much every episode.
But here lately, the game that we've been playing is Borderlands 3, which is, it kind of made in that old school style, but it's a newer game.
Yeah, my wife sent me out to GameStop for their 9 o'clock release for it. So I had to pick up the $100 copy for her. So I've played it. I'm not a huge fan of first-person shooters, mostly because I suck at them. But I like it. I've played it some with her. I've tried to stream. I did stream it one night when it first came out. But again, that was one that everybody was streaming when it happened. So you had 500 people that you could choose from to watch it. And so I just kind of backed out of that one.
Yeah, I feel like you get lost in the weeds with those kind of games.
Yeah, and Facebook, the way Facebook works with their system, if I've got 5 people watching my stream and somebody else has got 500, they're automatically going to push them to the top, and it's going to be super hard to find me for the first time.
Well, yeah, it's all in the algorithms and stuff like that, but that's kind of what we run into with the podcast. Is there are so many podcasts out there that it's hard to differentiate yourself and to make yourself known. But we do our own thing, and it sounds like you do the same. Just do what makes you happy and what makes your fan base happy.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook's having a big issue right now in this streaming community with bots. People, buying views. It's basically you'll have somebody go to a website, spend $20 for 150 bots, and there'll be these fake profiles that'll show up on your stream. And there's a big battle going on with one of my sponsors and another group that streams because they're using this and they're manipulating the system to push their stream to the top, and they're getting fake people. You got 200 viewers and 175 of them are coming from the same IP address. Unless you got 175 people sitting in the same house in the Philippines, something's wrong. And that's a little aggravating when you see people cheat.
Yeah, I bet. What made you decide to use the Facebook live stream instead of Twitch?
It's kind of same thing. I mean, there's a million people on Twitch, and the people that are on Twitch, they're making a killing. Some of them guys that I've watched are just raking in the money, but they've been doing it for so long. And part of it was, I said, if I go in a room of 100 people and I say, who here has a Twitch? I'm going to get 50 people who's going to raise their hand. But if I say who has Facebook, everybody's going to raise their hand. And so I looked at it that way. I was like, I can now have my mom can watch me. My family can watch me. My friends can watch me. Everybody can watch me because everybody's got Facebook. And that was where I wanted to go. And Facebook had just started their Level Up program, which was what monetizes gamers. And I was like, okay, let's do this. Let's hop on this, and it's a lot easier. And I treat it like a business. I run a big taboo with streamers is I run ads, and you either got people that are like, no, you can't run ads. You paid for your followers, or you got the people that are like me who treat it like a business and say, well, I'm just growing my brand. I'm growing my product. And So you have a lot of difference of opinions on Facebook, though. That's one thing I don't like is the drama is just as much in the Facebook gaming community as it is anything else you see on Facebook.
Interesting. But that is a good point about Facebook versus Twitch, because obviously Twitch is the powerhouse for streamers, but I can see how it's a real saturated market, and for a a new streamer to try to break through would be pretty difficult. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just would never think of Facebook and also think of live streams. Apparently they're trying to break into it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Zach. It seems kind of like you might only have those 50 people raise their hand that have a Twitch, but those 50 people are interested in video games. Yeah. Whereas the 100 people that raise their hands for Facebook, you might only have about 30 to 50 people that are interested in video games out of that group. So you're playing the numbers game, and that helps out, like you said, getting your friends and family to be able to watch. But the hardcore video gamers are over on Twitch watching.
Yeah, and it's if I went to Twitch, I'd have been a small fish in a very, very large pond.
Yeah.
Eventually, there's a lot of guys that will cross-platform, will stream to both. That's probably I will probably stay off of Twitch. My next goal and evolution is to go. I want to do YouTube, making videos. That's my next goal. But that's still a ways away. Like I'm pretty content where I'm at. Facebook has different levels, so I'm in their level up program, which is where you get monetized, where you see a lot of guys are at. It's very strict. You got to meet their guidelines, which I've got flagged a couple of times because they'll hear a ringtone on my phone and they're like, "Oh, copyright infringement." So they're like, "You got to watch what you're doing, or we're going to pull you out." But the ultimate goal is to be Facebook partnered, and that's where some of my friends are, a lot bigger streamers. And that's where you're getting paid directly from Facebook to create content, and they're flying you out to their headquarters during E3. They're PAX West, the big conference out there. They're flying you out to it. That's my goal. That's where I want to be. And if you're doing that, I'm doing this full time. I'm quitting my job and I'm just creating content.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like Facebook's trying to directly compete with, the likes of Twitch and all the other kind of streaming things, which is very interesting.
The last numbers I've seen, Twitch is still way ahead of everybody. Facebook Gaming had actually bypassed Mixer, and then they were right behind YouTube Live. So they're pouring money into it. Again, there's a big problem, and I'm probably just always say probably too stupid to keep my mouth shut because I end up stepping on toes. But again, the problem with Facebook is you get oversaturated with stuff. You've got everybody and their brother, and I see it all the time, are like, "Hey, I want to start a gaming page now because you're making money. I can do it." And they create a page, and not being mean or hateful, it's a junk page. And to me, you're stepping into my business. You're stepping on my toes, thinking that this is easy and that you're just going to make money hand over fist, and you don't understand the hard work, and you're going to turn people away from watching Facebook gaming because of how you're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. What you mentioned earlier in the episode that your first stream, you had your phone set up on, a series of boxes. Some people get to that point and that's as good as they are going to get. That's as good. They don't want to invest their own money to make their stream better.
And that's where I get aggravated because, again, I'm probably going to step on toes here, especially if some of the people that I know personally listen to this. But I treat, like I said, I do take this personal. I treat it as a business. If I want to sit there and make a product and ask for your money and your donations and your support, but I'm not reinvesting into my equipment, I'm not reinvesting to buying games, to buying a new microphone, to buying a new headset, I'm stealing your money because all I'm doing is I'm taking it, putting it in my pocket, and I'm not doing anything better. And that's one thing that I said when I started making money that I was going to do. I used the cell phone and stuff. I used it for about 3 weeks until I got enough money saved up to where I bought a capture card. After I bought a capture card, I bought a microphone. After I bought a microphone, I bought, a new computer. And I always tell people your stars goes right back into the stream. It goes into buying new games. It goes into giveaways. It goes into the merchandise. It goes into everything that you see on the stream. And it does it. It pisses me off when I see people that are 3 years in that are still using their cell phone, still, doing a crappy production job, and they're asking for money. I mean, you're to me, you're stealing from people.
That's a good way of looking at it, for sure.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Zach, whenever we started this, he was like, my main prerogative is to make sure that we have good audio quality. I don't want to put out a podcast that sucks.
Absolutely.
And that's why we used the Xbox headsets for the first 10 episodes or so, and then we invested in better microphones. We've got mixers and all kinds of stuff. Before the intro music that you all heard was played live, as soon as we hit the go button on YouTube, Zach hits play on his phone and it plays the music over everyone's headphones, and it shows up on the podcast and all that stuff. So it's like you said, it's just continually to evolve and to try to get better.
Yeah. And you got to.
I think it's smart to use what you have when you first start out to see if you really want to do this. Because I think if you're going to start like a streaming channel or a podcast or anything like that, if you pour a bunch of money into it right off the bat, and then you find out you don't have the time or you don't like to do it or whatever, then you're just out all that money. But we started with headsets that we had already had, so it didn't cost us any money. And then we decided, you know what, this is really fun. We want to keep doing this, and we want to make it better. So, you gradually buy things, and we bought, budget level equipment, and that does the job. And for me, it was, it's hard enough to get somebody to listen. To just click play is hard enough to do. And then if they do click play and they hear some garbled, crappy sounding audio, then they're never going to listen again. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing. I've always tried to put back. I just maybe about a month ago I bought a new 1080p 60 frames a second camera that I use, and it's stuff like that. I mean, it doesn't cost a lot. Walmart is getting into the gaming stuff. You can go to Walmart right now, buy the Snowball microphone that I have for like $40 at Walmart. It doesn't cost a lot, and to sit there and 3 years in do the same thing, and then I hear this, they'll whine and moan because, I'm only getting 3 viewers or I'm only getting 2 people watching me. Well, it's because it looks like crap. And right. I'm always the one that opens my mouth and sticks my foot in it, but I'm passionate about it. This is the side of me that people don't see when I turn on the stream. The part that does love what they're doing, that does take it serious, that does look at it as a business. I have fun and I joke around on stream, but behind the scenes, this is very serious for me.
Well, when the stream is up, that's showtime. You're in entertainment mode. Mm-hmm. But when the stream is off and all the work that you're putting into the page and to the brand and all that stuff, that is, like you said, that's the stuff people don't see. And that's honestly the bigger part of it. A lot of people don't realize that the stuff that you do when you're not broadcasting or creating that live content is the stuff that makes that even better.
Yeah, I mean, it's like coming home from work after working 9 hours, feel like crap and tired, and then try to drag yourself up here, put on a smile, and make it through 2 hours. That's and I've canceled streams before, but I try my hardest. Unless like my kids are playing sports or something like that, I have been up here with a toothache so bad that I was drugged up so bad that I couldn't hardly make it through the stream. But I still do it because, like I said, I treat it like a job, and that's the part that people don't see. 9 o'clock hits. I'm like, hey, what's up, guys? Welcome. Hope everybody had a good Saturday. And I will say that again in an hour and a half, and put a smile on my face. And then when I cut the stream off, I'm messaging people, trying to network, trying to get stuff ready to send out. it's a lot. It does take its toll mentally, and it's exhausting, and that's why I take it so seriously, and why I get aggravated with people.
Switching gears, I want to get more into what it is that you like personally. So I want to know what your favorite games to play are.
I love the sports games, but again, you'll never see me play them on stream.
Sure.
Besides that, definitely love the RPG games. So Final Fantasy VII, when you said that, I was like, sweet, I'm gonna do it. I was doing Final Fantasy X. I kind of just stopped. I felt bad because I stopped it in the middle of it to switch when I reset everything. If it's just me and I'm playing a game, not on stream, I'm doing some kind of strategy game. Valkyrie Chronicles on PlayStation. That's an excellent game if you've ever played it. It's one of those turn-based, you got to think out your moves type game. Love playing that. I'm trying to think what else. I don't get to play too much. I like Ace Combat. I do like the action games, but I don't. It's hard. I really don't get a chance. I've got so many games downstairs that I haven't even opened that I'll buy, and I'm like, I want to play, and I just never get a chance to.
Adulthood, right?
Yeah, it sucks. So, but RPGs are a big one for me, and that's a hard one to do on stream. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is going to take me till next year to finish.
Yeah, for sure.
Doing 2 hours a day.
2 hours a week into that game. Yeah, you'll be playing that game until this time next year.
Yeah, so
especially if you try to complete it, to do all of the side stuff, because I don't know how much either one of you have actually played through that game, but you could beat the main story and still have a shit ton of stuff left to do.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing in RPGs in and of themselves.
And I'll have people ask me, they'll be like, are you 100% this game? They just did when I finished Link to the Past. Or, no, the Link's Awakening, the new one for
the
Switch.
Newest one, yeah.
They're like, oh, you 100% it. And I'm like, no, I can't. I've got to move on. I've got to do something else.
It's a whole nother year's worth of game time.
Yeah, and so you're stuck. And the RPG games I've played before, when I was doing Kingdom Hearts, it will come back to bite you because you'll run through it. Kingdom Hearts, if you've ever played it, I got to Ansem at the end, and I was such a low level that it took me 2 days to beat because I couldn't do it because I was low level. And everybody will be like, oh, grind off stream. Okay, and that gets back into the business side. When am I supposed to grind off stream?
Right. That goes back into they don't see what happens when the camera goes off. They don't know your life,
Yeah.
You have a life just like everybody else. You're not just sitting in your bedroom playing video games 24 hours a day, and you just happen to let people glimpse in for a couple hours a day.
Yeah, so it comes full circle, but they're fun, and that gets back to the episodes and trying to. It's always evolving. What I'm doing today isn't what I was doing 3 months ago, and what I was doing 3 months ago isn't what I was doing when I first started. And who knows? Next week I may completely change things up and blow everything up and redo it. And I try to keep it to where I don't have the story games or the long drawn out games every night, because that is going to drag on. Some people love them, but not everybody wants to sit there and just watch me beat the same monster for 2 hours while I'm trying to level up.
Right, which is Final Fantasy VII in a nutshell.
Yeah. So and then it's tough. You get in some of them games, I get to 11 o'clock and I'm tired. I'm like, please get through this cutscene. So Final Fantasy VII was a perfect example of that. This week, I just when I fell through the church and stuff, I was like, please just get through this so I can hit a save point so I can end.
Yeah,
because I was so tired.
Well, and that's another thing about that game is unless you're in the open world, you just can't save anywhere. You have to find those little save crystals or whatever. And God, that's something that kids today don't even realize that video games used to be like.
Yep.
Yeah, and nothing's worse than getting far in a game and then dying and then being like, crap, and you got to restart or hit a game over. And that's the big thing. I'm live, like I'm doing it right there in front of you. So when I'm dying a million times on the same thing over and over, I've been there. I've watched the viewers just drop, and you're like, crap, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's a very hopeless feeling.
Dude, I'll tell you, I was watching when you were playing Mario and you got up to level one of the eights or whatever, somewhere in 8, and it's one where you go down into the tube to an underground area, and you have to hit the jumps on like the little platforms that have the gaps in between. As a kid, I fucked that up every single time. I would probably waste about half of my lives just trying to jump through that little part. You flew right through it, and I was like, well, goddamn.
Yes. So I last Flashback Friday that I done Mario. So it's been a couple of months. I speed ran right through it. I beat it in probably about 12 minutes. And I was like, okay. And then I went on to Mario 3, beat Mario 3. I speed ran it with another streamer, and we ended up getting some pretty low times. Like I beat Mario 3 in like 15 minutes, and he done it in like 14. So I was like, this Friday I was like, I'll just speed run these and play some other ones and all this stuff. And then I blew it and kept dying and getting aggravated. And I was like, okay, we're done, because I'm about to break a controller.
What would you say is the one game that you have dominated inside and out?
Man. Let me think. I can run through Contra pretty good. There's another streamer, ADD. He does a no death run. I'm not that good yet. I can't go through a no death run, but I can beat it pretty quickly. I'll sometimes throw that in there because I can beat it in about 25 minutes. So that one's a pretty quick one for me. I'm trying to think. There's not really a game that I can sit there and say I dominate. You just ask anybody on my stream. Like I get lost and I get frustrated and I get aggravated. Unless we're gonna pop in Madden and I'm gonna play somebody. Yeah, you're not gonna see me just absolutely destroy a game. But that makes it fun.
For me, there's one game that stands out that I could beat it blindfolded if I had to, probably back in the day. And it was with a drummer of one of my old bands. He and I would just dominate Turtles in Time, a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game. And we did the no death runs all the way through. It started out, we were like, all right, we're not going to use continues. If we have continues, we'll restart. And then that got to be too easy. So it was like, all right, we're just not going to die.
And that's sitting back there. I've done Turtles in Time several times, but
it's a fun one. I think we're having some technical difficulties.
So yeah, I have Turtles in Time and I'll play it, but I can't do. I'm not that good. I gotta use the like unlimited life cheat. So
I was gonna ask if you used any cheats or if you had a Game Genie sitting around anywhere.
Yeah, I've got several Game Genies actually, but where I use the Retron. The good thing about the Retron too is it's got a little SD card in the back of it, so I can preload all the cheat codes into it. And so if it is a hard game that I'm just trying to beat, that I want to show people the ending, maybe I'll put a note like unlimited life cheat in or something if I'm just wanting to show everybody the end of it. We done a Turtles episode where I done Turtles 2 and Turtles 3 on Nintendo, and then Turtles in Time. And I'd put in the cheat code and all of them. That way, I told everybody, I just want you to see the end of this. Like I just want everybody to see what this game is, start to finish.
Yeah, that's awesome. For me, a game that I would want to see like that is Battletoads, because I've never beaten that game. As I may, that game just kicks my ass. And
so we're doing, again, this come from, you said it, and I think a couple other people said they wanted to see Battletoads, and Sundays is what I call Get Good Sunday. So I got 2 hours to stream and get good at a game, and so that'll be Battletoads. Sundays is usually the rage-inducing days. I will probably have like unlimited continues. I'll at least use unlimited continues, because that way when I get to the turbo tunnel, at least I can sit there for 2 hours and try to beat it. But that one's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I could beat that game in 2 hours with unlimited lives. I just don't. I don't think I would make it to the end.
I beat Battletoads and Double Dragon.
God, that one was insane too.
Back during the spring, I did beat it. So I have beat a Battletoads game before. I fully don't expect to beat this one. I'm going to be honest. Sunday's going to be rough, but
Sundays, that's a relatively new episode that we just started, and what's fun about it is it's purposely made to make me rage. Like, I want to play hard games and try to get good at them and see how far I can make it. We played Ninja Gaiden a couple of weeks ago, and I don't know if you ever played that game. So we got all the way to the end of it, and I just kept dying and kept dying and kept dying, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" But that was part of it, and so I stick to my 2-hour time limit on it because I'm like, okay, we got 2 hours to beat it or get good, or let the game beat us. So Sundays are a fun day.
It's funny go ahead.
You go ahead, Zach.
I was just going to say, it's funny that those kind of games that are just excessively hard are popular and have a bit of a follow. You said Ninja Gaiden, and then most recently the Dark Souls games and the Bloodborne games. Like, those are insanely hard. And people love the fact that they're hard.
Yeah, I can't even get to the tutorial on them games. Sakuru's another one that just came out that's made from the makers of Bloodborne. That's a really, really good one. Them games, no, I'm not even going to try because I'm going to end up by being like Rob Gronkowski and spike a controller. And that would not be good. Yeah.
So you said Mondays is when you're doing Final Fantasy VII. Sundays is Get Good Sundays. What other theme days do you have? Just to put it out there so that our audience can tune in if they hear something they like.
So Tuesday, let's see, Sundays, we'll just start at the beginning. Sundays is Get Good Sunday. Mondays, Final Fantasy VII. Tuesdays, Pokemon. Right now we're doing Pokemon Blue, which, again, that's one of those games that I was really iffy on, but everybody loved it. I had people watch me for 2 hours try to catch a Pikachu. So I figure if you're going to watch me for 2 hours try to catch one Pokemon, then I'll keep doing it for you.
Hell yeah.
Wednesdays, Thursdays, I take off. Fridays, we do Flashback Fridays. Saturday, today we're doing Stardew Valley. Again, that one, I'm very interested in seeing how it goes. If it does really good, I'll keep it. If it doesn't, I'll chuck it and switch it up and do something else. So I've thought about throwing in like a Sports Saturday or a Sega Saturday or something like that.
I was just thinking the same thing. Like, why not do one day for sports, since you said that's one of the genres of games that you really enjoy?
Yeah, and I might, like I said, it's ever evolving. I want to do some of the old Sega Saturn's one of the consoles I love, one of my favorite ones. I'm looking at it right now, sitting down there, and I love playing the old Madden games on it. Just seeing some of the old guys, Tim Batuka, getting them with the Panthers, and Kerry Collins, and some of them guys. They are very fun. They bring back memories, and that's why I love the sports games. And I think a lot of people would like seeing the older ones like that, just because you could see some of your favorite players and have the memories.
Yeah, I think the old Maddens would do really well. When the PlayStation Classic released, instead of paying them $100 like a pump to play 20 games or whatever it was, I just did emulators, and I played Madden 2000, and just hearing John Madden do the commentary and seeing all those old players and like how clunky they were and stuff compared to today's games was just a really awesome blast from the past.
Oh man, Madden, was it Madden 90? Madden, maybe it was Madden 2000 I got for 64 when 64 first came out. I got the console and then the game, and I love the old Maddens. Hearing John Madden and Pat Summerall call games, that's what I love. I miss hearing them guys on TV. I've got, probably you guys can't see them because they're kind of down toward the bottom, but I've got a whole stack of 64 games that are in the box, and I got them super cheap because they're the NFL quarterback clubs, that MLB All Stars, games like that, and I love them. Seeing them guys on the boxes and playing them, Ken Griffey Jr. baseball, stuff like that.
Yep.
Dude, Ken Griffey Jr. baseball for Super NES was my shit.
The best baseball game, hands down, ever, and I will argue that point, all day.
Dude, I was playing MLB 19, the show, or the show 19 earlier today. I would hands down prefer to play Ken Griffey on Super Nintendo.
Now, I do like this show, though. I buy that every year, but I neglect it every year. I probably haven't played it in probably a month.
Yeah.
So it makes me sad that I don't play it.
I gave you my gamer tag so you can hop on and we can play a game together sometime.
We'll put it up on stream. That way everybody can watch it.
Oh, everybody watch how bad I suck at video games compared to you.
Man.
Brandon's the pitching on that game.
Yeah, I'm terrible at pitching. I can hit. I'm a good hitter on that game. I know when to lay off. I don't really swing at balls. I only swing at pitches in the strike zone for the most part. But pitching, holy fuck, I can't throw a strike to save my life.
My created player has like 0 walks for 3 seasons, and like I'm like you. I'm first pitch swinging everything. Yeah.
See, and that's how most people are. Zach's the same way. He's better at pitching. Zach's lights out with a pitcher, but I don't know what it is. Maybe do you swing at first pitches and stuff like that all the time too, Zach? You're just too anxious.
I don't know. I can't get the timing down, and all it is I just need to dedicate some time to it. But every time I try to play a position player on the show, I don't know. I suck at the timing of pitching, and I either strike out or get a foul ball or whatever, and it's just frustrating. And for me, it's way more fun, and I'm better at striking people out on the game.
The show seems really streaky to me. I can go 3 or 4 games without hitting anything, and then all of a sudden I go on a 4 or 5 game tear where I'm hitting everything.
If you watch baseball, that's pretty true to life.
Yeah.
So. Guys will go 0 for 16 in a weekend series, and then the next week they're 450 with 5 home runs.
Chris Davis, he went 0 for like half a season.
Yeah, I mean he went 0 for like 190 or some shit.
Yeah.
And then he finally got a hit against the Red Sox, of course.
NHL, I love doing the creative player on them. I'm a huge on the creative players.
Oh yeah.
NBA 2K, I'll buy them. I'm like, man, I'm gonna do this, and it gets pushed to the back, and I don't get a chance to play it as much as I'd like.
Now, with your created characters, this is a pretty loaded question. Do you create yourself, or do you just create someone?
I create myself. I'll make them about 6'2". If I'm doing basketball, 6'2", 6'3". Same thing if I'm doing baseball, they're about 5'11", 6 foot. I don't make them big. And if I'm doing baseball, I put them in center field where I played. If I'm doing basketball, I won't put them at point guard. I usually put them at shooting guard. I don't make a big man. I try to mimic John Stockton because he's my favorite player. And NHL, I put them usually on a wing. So I'll try to stick his close. I'm not making any like 6'11", 280-pound monster who can shoot 3-pointers like Curry.
See, I don't have a problem with that as long as you're not slapping your name to it. I like to come up with silly names for my guys and make them just like, oh yeah, this is some asshole from out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I have a Hall of Famer on MLB The Show 18. His name was Johnny Coyote. And he was from Montana, I think it was. And every time he would hit a home run, I would text Zach and I would just give him the big "How!" He knew what that meant. Yeah. And then now in 19, I've got a shortstop. His name is Justin Case.
Nice.
That's fun. It's fun to mess with the names on that game because nowadays the announcers will say your player's name, which makes it fun.
Now, do you do the facial recognition to create?
No, I usually let my wife play around with creating the looks of the players, and then I just play. I play the game. She creates what she wants them to look like.
Yeah, I'll do the face creation, and it's kind of funny to see what they turn out like because all it takes is one slight movement of the wrist, and then you've got Quasimodo out there in left field.
That's pretty funny.
I tried that for some NBA Live demo they were doing where that you could do it on your phone. You download the app and do the face thing, and your player would look like you. But I don't know if the technology needs to be better or what, but they look super, super weird.
Yeah, you got a scrunched up face, huge like forehead, and I mean that's where you'll end up being.
So you look like Peyton Manning is what you're saying.
Oh, yeah, late year Peyton Manning for sure. So, But that's not bad. I mean, he's got 2 Super Bowl rings and, a Hall of Fame career, so that'd be all right.
Could be worse.
Could be worse. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we've been on here for about an hour now. Is there anything else that you want to let us know, Ian, or let the listeners know? And feel free to go ahead and shout out your sponsors if you want as well.
So you can, if you're listening and you want to check me out, you can definitely check me out. Facebook.com/growing up 8bit. You can look at me or find me online at growingup8bit.com. Made me a website so people can go on there, see stream schedule, and see what's upcoming. And I've got all the links to my sponsors where you can check out Video Games Monthly, which is pretty cool. If you guys collect video game boxes, they send you basically a box in the mail each month, a loot box where you get random games. So you get to pick what consoles you want. And they'll send you games each month. It's pretty cool. And also Gould Gaming, I got them as a sponsor. They hooked me up with merchandise, with T-shirts, just all kinds of stuff. You can get Christmas ornaments. It's got my stuff on it. I'm trying to think what else. But I mean, like there's everything on there. Canvas art, Pixel Pals, all kinds of stuff. So they're pretty neat.
If those are subscription services?
Yeah, Gould Gaming is my main sponsor. They're the ones that handle my merchandise. So if you go to gouldgaming.com, you can go to my section and find my T-shirts that are specifically made for me. I just got hooked up with them back during the summer, so my merchandise selection is still pretty small, but we still got some pretty cool T-shirts there, and you can order stuff. They got all kinds of stuff on there, and then the subscription is Video Games Monthly. So they send you a box. You pick what size box you want from 3 games. They do 3, 4, 5, and 10 games a month. And what you do is you pay them, put what consoles you want, and they'll send you games for them each month. It's really fun.
That's pretty neat.
That's how I built a lot of mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's awesome for guys like you that have all the consoles and you're just looking for more games to play on them. Do they have more of the just like newer consoles? Like if you only have a PS4?
No, so they don't do PS4.
Okay.
They don't do Xbox One. They don't do Switch.
Okay.
They'll do everything older than that. So
Okay.
It's still really
cool.
cool. Yeah, it's still really neat. And the good thing with them guys is Joe, the guy that runs that. I've never got a box that didn't equal the value that I paid for it. And customer service has been really good with them. I got a duplicate game one time that I had already gotten like the month before. I just sent them a message on Facebook. I was like, hey, I got a duplicate. And 2 days later, I had another one shipped out to me to replace it. So that's really cool. They hook people up, and I do appreciate them for getting me all my games and helping me out. So, and if you are new, and I got to get, this will apply to you guys. If you're a new follower, just send me a message on my Facebook page, and I'll send you some of our Growing Up 8-bit merchandise. I got wristbands that basically this gets back to putting money back into the stream. These are ones that I bought, and I send them out for free just for being a follower or being a watcher.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a really cool idea to just get your name out there, your brand, and if people are wearing them on their wrist, other people are going to see it. So advertisement.
They've got 2 hashtags on them, so I'll wear these out and maybe see somebody out somewhere, and I'm like, hey, here you go. If you want to find me, just look up either one of these hashtags on Facebook, and it'll take you right to me. So I'll get you guys some of these for having me on.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
No problem.
And, we know your stream's getting ready to happen pretty soon, and we want to give you time to go get prepared for that and have a little downtime in between, I guess, so you can maybe eat something or get a drink or whatever you need to do.
Gotta make sure this is downloaded.
Well, this episode will come out on Wednesday, so it's going to be a few days delay, but it'll be out and available Wednesday sometime whenever Zach hits the go button, I guess.
Well, that works.
All the listeners are just listening to the past right now as Brandon talks about Wednesday.
Yeah, it's so weird. Anyway, Ian, thanks so much for coming on, dude. We'll have you back on again, I'm sure, because this was a blast, and I'm sure we could talk for another several hours about video games.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate it. This was fun.
Yeah, man. welcome back anytime. Thank you guys for listening. If this is your first time listening to the Nest podcast, please hit the subscribe button. We are going to be here every Monday night during the football season to talk about, you guessed it, football. We also will come to you periodically with updates on the MLB playoffs while they're still going on. And when baseball comes back in the spring, this will be your home for baseball talk. Anyway, that's all that we have to talk about tonight. So we appreciate you listening, and we hope you have a wonderful day. Peace.
Stay connected with Brandon and Zach on Facebook and Instagram at the Nest Podcast. And tune in next week for a brand new episode. And thanks for listening.